Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Guys, in today's video, we are diving into a major development in the world of international trade. China's aggressive tariff response to Donald Trump's recent moves and what it all means for the global trade. As tensions between the world's two largest economies intensify once again, the ripple effects are being felt across the supply chains, boardrooms, and diplomatic summits. But this isn't just about the import taxes or political jobs. It's about a larger shift in how global commerce operates, who leads it, and who might get left behind. So buckle up because what we are witnessing isn't just a trade war, it's a potentially the reshaping of global economic power. The latest rounds of tariffs and countermeasures signals that both countries are digging in their heels. Donald Trump, staying true to his America First approach, has proposed a way of aggressive trade policies aimed squarely at China. In response, Beijing didn't just shrug it off or send a diplomatic note, they hit back hard. China's Ministry of Commerce swiftly announced a set of retaliatory tariffs targeting key American exports, including agriculture products, automobiles, and high tech machinery. These moves are not just tit for tat, they are carefully calibrated to hit where it hurts. America's rural economy, tech innovation, and manufacturing industries. These are the sectors that have long depended on Chinese demand, and losing access to that market, even partially, could deal a serious blow to America. So, what's more interesting is how surgical China's response have been. They have been studying US supply chains, identifying pressure points, and targeting the products with political sensitivity. Goods from the swing states, for example, where lost revenue could translate into lost votes. This isn't just the economic warfare, it's psychological warfare with a political edge. As this escalates, it's not just US and China's companies caught in the crossfire. Global trade routes are shifting. Multinational companies are rethinking where they manufacture their goods. Some are also moving production out of China to countries like Vietnam or India. Others are considering reshoring manufacturing back to the United States. Too, that often comes with the higher cost. Meanwhile, financial markets are showing signs of anxiety. Investors are wary of a prolonged trade standoff that could drag down global growth. Central banks are monitoring inflation, which is likely to spike as tariffs raise the cost of imported goods. And small businesses, they are struggling to absorb this rising cost without passing them on to the consumers. So, behind the scenes, diplomats are scrambling. The World Trade Organization, already weakened in recent years, is facing irrelevance in this new era of unilateralism. Alliances like the EU and ASEAN are being forced to pick sides or at least carefully talk the tightrope between economic and opportunities and political alliances. For everyday people, this may seem far removed, but it's not. If you are buying electronics, clothing, cars, or groceries, chances are you will feel the impact. Prices will rise, product availability may shrink, and consumer choices could narrow as companies adapt to this new environment. This latest clash is also a wake up call for tech companies. The US has already restricted exports of critical technologies to Chinese firms. In return, China is investing heavily in becoming self sufficient in semiconductors, AI, and green energy. The race for tech dominance isn't just about profits anymore, it's about the national security. And don't forget the broader ideological battle. At its core, this is a contest between two very different models, one driven by free market capitalism and democratic governance, the other by state driven capitalism and centralized power. As this battle plays out, countries around the world are watching and recalibrating their own strategies because sliding with the wrong superpower could mean losing access to billions in trade or investment. So, guys, what comes next? Will cooler heads prevail and negotiations resume? Or are we heading toward a prolonged economic cold war where trust is broken, alliances are strained, and the global order we have known for decades is upended? One important factor that's often overlooked in these heated trade disputes is the role of states' support in China's economic strategy. While Trump's tariffs may hurt Chinese exports in the short term, the Chinese government has consistently shown a willingness and capability to buffer its industries through subsidies, tax breaks, and low interest state backed loans. So, this isn't just about the protecting domestic manufacturers. China is playing the long game. The government is doubling down on policies that strengthen its internal market, stimulate domestic demand, and create the alternative trading partners through initiatives like the Belt and Road. When US policies cut off access to critical technologies, Beijing doesn't retreat. Instead, it ramps up investment into its own innovation ecosystem, pushing for breakthroughs in semiconductors, robotics, and AI. In the agricultural sector, for example, where American soybeans and corn once held sway, China is investing in alternative sourcing and improving local yields. In the tech sector, Chinese firms like Huawei and SMIC are receiving billions in research funding to reduce dependence on US tech. So while US companies grapple with tariffs and political volatility, many Chinese businesses are actually stabilizing thanks to a government that views strategic economic planning as a pillar of national strength. This internal reinforcement is what makes China so resilient in a prolonged trade standoff. It's not just retaliating, it's evolving. Now let's fast forward to the possibility of second Trump presidency. What would that mean for US China trade dynamic and broader global economy? First, expect the return of extreme unpredictability. Trump has already teased a new round of tariffs on Chinese goods. Some reports even suggest he could push a universal 10% tariff on all imports, not those from China. That alone would be a seismic shock to the global trade. But Trump 2.0 wouldn't just be about tariffs. It would likely come with tightened restrictions on tech exports, further decoupling of supply chains, and perhaps even attempts to blacklist entire sectors of the Chinese economy. For allies of both nations, this could mean increased pressure to choose sides in a world no longer defined by open markets but by economic blocks. At home, Trump's base may cheer the return of protectionist policies, especially in manufacturing heavy states. But for global businesses, financial markets, and trade partners, a second term may trigger caution, re evaluation, and perhaps the acceleration of diversification strategies. For China, a Trump re election has served a further validation of its pivot away from Western markets. Beijing would double down on regional trade through pacts like RCEP and deepen ties with emerging economies. The result will be a split global trading system where East and West pursue parallel competing economic paths. It's a future where efficiency takes a backseat to ideology, and for everyone else caught in the middle, whether you are a farmer in Kansas, a factory worker, or a stand up founder in Berlin, it means navigating a world that feels increasingly uncertain, politicized, and fragmented. So, what does all this mean for you, for your country, and for the future of trade? One thing is clear, the old rules no longer apply. We are entering a new era of global commerce, one defined not just by markets but by power. The battle between the US and China isn't just about tariffs or tech, it's about the future of global economy. So, guys, if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So, guys, what do you think? Is the world heading towards a full blown economic Cold War? And can anyone really win? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.